Ya, Amanda ya.
Ya.
Loh, kok hilang Amanda ya? Silakan di highlight, spotlight. Udah.
Masukin semua ya.
Ya. Manish, we start ya.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan semua, saya Amanda MC pada kegiatan kita siang ini. Mohon bersabar menunggu peserta yang lain, tetap pastikan mic Anda dalam posisi mute selama kegiatan berlangsung. Kita akan memulai 5 menit lagi.
Everest Technologies is an award-winning software product company with its core in AIOps for enterprise and telecoms. Using AIOps and its related processes, it lays the foundation of digital transformation for enterprises and telecoms. Our flagship product, under the Infraon brand, blends together an AIOps-driven core. We cater to large enterprises, telecoms, BFSI, government, and other verticals. We have a noteworthy global presence. Infraon for the enterprise is AIOps-driven and simplifies IT operations management. It's a product suite that consists of 3 integrated products underneath. Infraon IMIS is a unified IT infrastructure management tool. Infraon Desk automates business processes and service delivery. We also have a Pink Elephant certification for our Infraon Desk product. Infraon NCCM automates change and configuration management. For telecoms, the combination of Infraon OSS and Infraon Desk can cater to deployments of any scale. Chief executives can now transform IT into a strategic business driver. At Everest Technologies, we use AI, machine learning, and inventive products to bridge the digital transformation gap. Everest Technologies is an award-winning software product company with its core in AIOps for enterprise and telecoms. Using AIOps and its related processes, it lays the foundation of digital transformation for enterprises and telecoms. Our flagship product, under the Infraon brand, blends together an AIOps-driven core. We cater to large enterprises, telecoms, BFSI, government, and other verticals. We have a noteworthy global presence. Infraon for the enterprise is AIOps-driven and simplifies IT operations management. It's a product suite that consists of 3 integrated products underneath. Infraon IMIS is a unified IT infrastructure management tool. Infraon Desk automates business processes and service delivery. We also have a Pink Elephant certification for our Infraon Desk product. Infraon NCCM automates change and configuration management. For telecoms, the combination of Infraon OSS and Infraon Desk can cater to deployments of any scale. Chief executives can now transform IT into a strategic business driver. At Everest Technologies, we use AI, machine learning, and inventive products to bridge the digital transformation gap.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan, kita akan memulai rangkaian acara webinar kita. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Dalam kesempatan yang baik ini, kita akan membahas tema mengenai ITXMAkademi, Monitoring Your Smart City Infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining our webinar series today. We will discuss ITXMAkademi, Monitoring Your Smart City Infrastructure. Kegiatan ini didukung oleh ITXMAS, Asosiasi Pengusaha Teknologi Informasi dan Komunikasi Nasional. Diadakan oleh Event Cerdas, Mitra Transformasi Digital Anda. Didukung juga oleh media partner biskom.web.id, portal teknologi informasi dan komunikasi dan hukum. This event is supported by ITXMAS, Indonesia ICT Business Association, Event Cerdas, your digital transformation partner, and biskom.web.id, IT and Law Portal. Webinar ini akan dimoderator oleh Fanky selaku Ketua ITXMAS DKI Jakarta. This webinar will be moderated by Fanky as Regional Chairman of ITXMAS Jakarta. Silakan Pak Fanky.
Ya, baik. Terima kasih Amanda. Selamat siang rekan-rekan semua. Bagi yang berpuasa, selamat menjalankan ibadah puasa. Saya senang sekali kita bisa berkumpul kembali di kegiatan kita di sore kali ini, yang tema kita masih terkait dengan ITXM. Jadi teman-teman nanti akan lihat banyak kegiatan kami akan bungkus dengan tema ITXM ya. Jadi di dalamnya ada banyak terkait dengan IT Operation Management, IT Service Management, dan IT Asset Management. Jadi 3 hal itu kami bungkus dalam satu pendekatan yang namanya ITXMAkademi. Di ITXMAkademi kita akan belajar tentang banyak produk, khususnya produk-produk yang disupport oleh salah satu partner kita namanya Everest IMS. Everest IMS ini perusahaan yang berbasis di India, tapi memiliki banyak produk terkait dengan IT Service Management, IT Operation, dan IT Asset Management. Nah, dalam kesempatan siang kali ini kita akan bicara yang agak spesifik ya, mungkin banyak teman-teman yang hadir. Kenapa ngangkat temanya terkait dengan Smart City ya? Jadi nanti kita akan coba lihat apa yang menjadi konsentrasi terkait dengan Smart City. Ya, secara umum pasti akan sangat terkait dengan availability issue, karena itu yang biasanya akan menjadi konsentrasi. Nah, yang menarik, kenapa produk Everest IMS atau Infraon ini bisa menjawab solusi terkait dengan Smart City, karena produknya dalam satu platform sudah memiliki integrasi, mulai dari depannya ya terkait dengan IT Operation Management, kemudian IT Asset Management, dan juga IT Service Management. Jadi secara produk, IT XM ini sudah ada semua di dalam produk Infraon ya. Oke, yang minggu lalu kita sudah bahas tentang Infraon Desk ya, itu IT Service Management. Silakan teman-teman yang belum sempat melihat bisa melihat kembali di YouTube-nya Event Cerdas ya terkait dengan kegiatan minggu lalu. Nah, yang kali ini kita akan banyak hanya berkonsentrasi di IT Operation Management dengan menggunakan produk yang namanya Infraon IMS. Ya. Nah, telah hadir bersama dengan kita para narasumber kita. I would like to say hello to Manish Mohan, Mr. Manish Mohan from Everest EMS. How are you, Manish?
Hey, Fanky, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, for joining this event. So, Manish will present in English about the solution monitoring your smart city infrastructure using the Infraon in EMS product. But if the audience needs some details, I will do some translation if needed. Okay, after this we go for the Q&A session. Jadi setelah ini kita akan masuk ke sesi Q&A. Silakan teman-teman yang mau nanti bertanya bisa sampaikan pertanyaannya lewat chat. Ya, nanti lewat chat. Nanti kalau mau bertanya langsung juga boleh di sesi Q&A. 3 pertanyaan terbaik tetap akan mendapatkan OVO Rp100.000 dari Vencerdas ya. Silakan. Okay, I will offer to you, Manish. Go ahead, present the solution for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Fanky. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining once again. So we'll be continuing the sessions on ITXMAkademi, monitoring your smart city infrastructures. So before we begin, I'll just give a quick introduction about the company and, what different products that we have. Okay, so the different suite or the different the integrated products that we have, we use them to, monitor the smart city projects. We have been very active in terms of, what all smart city projects we are handling in India. Okay, and we look forward to your cooperation, to work towards these, to the digitization of the smart city infrastructure in Malaysia as well. So let me just present my screen. Okay, I hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, visible.
Okay, great. So Everest IMS Technologies has been in the IT industry for more than 14 plus years now. And we have been able to cater to multiple market segments. And, we are trying to do the digital transformation of the entire IT along with our AI powered solutions. Okay, so currently we are headquartered in India, which is, in Bangalore, which is in South India. And we have operations in the SAARC as well as Southeast Asia's. We have also started in Middle East and the US market segments as well. And we have 2 core product suites with 5 different integrated products in them. Okay, and over these years we have been able to acquire a lot of customers in terms of whether they are from the Indian geography or from the Southeast Asia geography as well. Okay, and the company's vision and mission is in terms of we are trying to provide the AI based solutions, okay, whether it is on premise or whether it is cloud based systems, and we are trying to work them across the IT and non-IT service portfolios. Okay, we are trying to transform the IT into a business role. We have seen that over these years, IT is still considered to be as a cost center rather than a business center or a profit center to any organization. So we aim to provide solutions that would aid the CIOs, that would aid the CXOs to make business benefit decisions. Okay, and eventually it will help to transform the IT into a business driver rather than just being a supporter to them. Okay. We are also doing the digital transformations of physical objects. So we have an IoT platform, which is quite important in terms of when you are doing the safe, we are doing the smart city monitoring projects. Okay, so the IoT platforms enabled your advanced connectivity of devices using different sensors. Okay, so you can, for example, monitoring of your smart poles, monitoring of your smart parking systems, right? Monitoring of your smart metering, right? So these details or these solutions we are capable of monitor using the different sensors that are available from our IoT platform. Okay, and some awards and recognitions that we have received over the yeah. So some awards and recognitions we have received over these years. So our ITSM solution is certified for 13 processes by Pink Elephant. Okay, so processes like incident management, problem management, change management, request management. We are certified for 13 of these processes, and which makes us, or which brings us to being the top ITSM vendors across the globe. We have also done the OWASP security certifications for all our enterprise applications, where it justifies, or it defines that there are no open vulnerabilities in any of our solutions. And we have been winner of few startup awards in India, or apart from that, in terms of the company certification, so we have ISO 20001, ISO 9001, 27001 certifications as well. Okay, so we are following the industry standard, industry standards in terms of the companies, as well as the tools, the tool or the processes that we are following, in whether it is an organization-based processes or whether it is the software-based process. Okay, so coming to our offerings, okay, so we have two different segments. One is the unified enterprise offerings, and the other one is a unified telecom offering. Okay, so under the unified enterprise offerings, is something which is available as different solutions, as well as it is available as a single or an integrated solution as well. Okay, so it has three core products. So one is the Infraon IMS, which is the entire monitoring system. So your infrastructure monitoring system, which ranges across your traditional IT infrastructure, as well as your peripheral IT devices. So for example, your wireless access controllers, wireless access points, right? Your CCTV cameras, or the IP phones, right? So we are capable of monitoring, or we're capable of extending it to the peripheral devices as well. Infraon Desk is again, it is the ITIL based help desk or ticketing tool, which is available on SaaS as well as on premise. It helps you to automate certain business processes, so that, instead of working out on a paper, or instead of, doing offline works, you can automate the entire processes, through which you can move from one department to another. It supports inter-department collaborations as well. Then we have Infraon NCCM, which is the network configuration and change management. Okay, so this is basically a complete network automation and audit tool, which is built specifically for all the network devices. Okay, so we do have, so you can download the configurations, you can compare the configurations with different versions, right? Along with that, we also support, policy compliance check, then different compliance reports can be generated, right? So it's a complete network automation tool, which also helps you for the firmware upgradation, vulnerability assessments for all your network devices needs. So so if you have any queries, please feel free to drop it in the chat, or you can unmute, and we can let's make this more interactive session. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just take some time to get into the different products one by one. So we'll talk about the Infraon IMS, we'll talk about Infraon Desk, and we'll talk about NCCM in the upcoming slides. But apart from that, we'll also talk about how these products are being integrated with each other, and how they are being utilized under the smart city ventures, and how we can use how we can enhance their individual capabilities and provide you with the complete IT operations and IT management suite. Okay, so starting with the Infraon IMS. So Infraon IMS is infrastructure monitoring solution. So it's a agentless monitoring tool, which does the fault and performance management of all the devices. We are completely, agentless. So no need of deploying any agents on any of the target devices. So we use SNMP protocols for network device monitoring, WMI protocol for Windows, right? And similarly, SSH protocols for the Linux-based device monitoring. Then we have the network traffic and traffic management. So basically, discovering of all the network devices and monitoring the traffic, traffic flow as well. So we can monitor the net flow, the S flow, J flow, or even IPFix within the networks. Okay, so based on the network or the net flow data that we are capturing, right? So we are able to identify who are the top talkers in the organization, right? Who's using the maximum bandwidth, what are the top download, or what are the top applications, top protocols they are consuming the maximum bandwidth throughout the organization. Okay. We also provide you, so once we have discovered all the devices, right? So using the LLDP or the CDP protocols, so we can also create or we can also drop a topology map which shows how the different devices are connected to each other. Okay, so this comes in very handy when we need to find out a root, or when we need to do a root cause analysis, right? So if there is any intermediary device due to which the target devices are not being reachable, or they are sending out alarms, right? So these details can be figured out using the topology view as well. Then we do server and application monitoring, where we support different flavors. So your physical servers as well as your virtual servers. In virtual servers also, we have we can monitor the VMware, or your Microsoft Hyper-V, or even Citrix systems, or even the Nutanix virtualization platform. Also, we are able to monitor that. Then under the application management, so we do monitor the applications from the OS level or the middleware applications. So any processes or any services that are running on the application servers, right? So we can monitor the health of those services. We can monitor the health of those processes. And using script automation, the system can also perform certain tasks, such as, in case there is a critical service which is supposed to be running all the time. If the system finds that it is currently in a hung state, so we can automate it, so that the system can kickstart, or system can restart that service again, so that the end users are not impacted. Okay. Apart from that, we also monitor the middleware applications. So like your Apache, your Tomcat, then we have your ISS servers, right? Then we have business analysis and dashboards. So all the data that is being collected, right, it is analyzed, and we provide our customers with multiple dashboards. Yeah, any query? Right?
No. Please continue.
Okay, great. So we provide our customers with multiple dashboards and reports, which they can utilize to understand what is currently happening in their network. Okay. Apart from that, we do we provide them with a custom dashboard building as well, where they can create their own dashboards depending on what data we are capturing for them, and they can create their own reports as well. Then we have the geomap and network diagrams. So apart from the topology diagram that we discussed in the network management section, we also have different views. For example, there is a geomap view, which showcases the device's latitude and longitude. It plots it in a map, right? And it shows you how they are connected with each other. Then we have a network diagram builder. So network diagram builder is something a little bit similar to your Microsoft Visio, where you can drag and drop different devices. You can create a link between them, and you can create your own network architecture. You can create your own architecture diagram within the tool itself. Okay, And the best part is once this diagram has been configured, you can use this to monitor the infra as well. So we will showcase you these details in terms of if a device is down, it will showcase you in a red color. If there are certain alarms in a particular device, it will showcase you in a yellow color, right? So we have these color codes available throughout the tool. So you can create these, network diagrams, and you can push them on a bigger screen. So like in most of the smart cities, you have a traditional command and control center, right, where they have big video walls. So these kind of diagrams can be created and they can be pushed to different video walls, so that every time there is an alarm, or every time there is a device that goes down, it will highlight in the bigger screen itself. Okay. Then we have role-based user access privileges. So all the tools that Everest carries, so they all have a user access based on their roles. So there can be a read-only access, there can be a administrator access, or they can be level 1 engineer, level 2 engineer. And what we have done is we have defined, so basically the administrators of the tool, so they can create their own rules or their own roles, right? Depending on what kind of privileges they can carry. So for example, whether they can execute, or whether they can create a new dashboard, or whether they can create a new report, whether they can download some sort of data from the tool, right? So all these details, module level privileges have been defined, which can be customized for different, or which can be configured based on the different customers' requirement. Okay. Then we have multi-mode notifications and escalations. So basically, whenever there is a fault in the system, right? So we can raise an alarm through various channels. So we can send out an email alerts. We can send out the notifications in the tool. Along with that, we also have the capability where for some critical alarms, we can generate a sound file in the NOC, or sound file in the command and control center as well. So that in case a critical or a major device goes down, so the whole NOC center will be alerted using a different sound mechanism. Okay. We also have the option where you can send these alarms to a third party or our own ticketing tool. Okay. And we can also send it to different third party applications as well. And we support escalations. So we support the NMS, IMS supports email-based escalations, where every alarm that is generated comes with an escalation timer. Okay, so and if that alarm has not been acknowledged in, let's say, 15 minutes or so, so we support once this 15 minutes is expired, so we can send out an escalation email depending on the different levels the organization has. Okay, you can define different escalation timers for all the alarms that are getting generated. Then we support API for the third-party integrations. So like I mentioned, we can send out the alarm details to a third-party tool, right? We support REST APIs. Okay, and last but not the least, we have a correlation and rule engine, which keeps on running at the background. So what it basically does is, so we were talking about the topology and root cause of different alarms, right? So what we can do is, so let's say I'm currently monitoring one target device, and for reaching out to that target device, my connectivity, so the Everest server's connectivity is via a router or any other switch, right? So now if that intermediary device goes down, my connectivity to that server will also go down, right? So in such scenarios, apart from getting the alarms from the device which is actually down, since I'm not able to reach the target server, I will start receiving alarms from that server as well, right? So the system's correlation engine, what it does is it basically compares, or since we have the topology view, we are able to identify the hierarchy. And based on that, we can define that the router being down is actually the root alarm. Okay. And all the alarms which are pertaining to this router, right? So these are all actually child alarms. Okay. So instead of sending you, or instead of bombarding the NOC or the alarms dashboard with hundreds of alarms, you'll only get one alarm, which will showcase the router being down as the root alarm. And then you can further diagnose and see that there are different child alarms as well. And if the root alarm has been cleared, all the child alarms will get cleared automatically. So this was, a brief about the Everest IMS solution. Okay, then we have the Infraon desk or the IT service management tool. Okay, so Infraon desk, like we mentioned, so it's automation, a workflow and automation driven tool. So basically, you can create different workflows to define how a ticket is going to flow from one state to another. Okay, so we support incident management. We have so basically any fault or any issue that is in the system or that is being faced by any of the users can be raised as an incident for them, right? And any incident that keeps on occurring, it becomes a problem, can be converted into a problem, and then it can have its own root cause, or if there is any resolution to that problem, right? Or if it is not being resolved, what would be the workaround for that problem? So there are different ways how incidents are being handled, within the ITSM tool. Okay, so we have request management, and we also provide a self-service portal where all the users, right? So basically, all the people who are using these services, or they are facing some issues with these services, so they can log in into their own self-service portal. We provide login IDs for everyone. Okay, and based on once they have logged in, they can either create an incident. They can request for a particular, let's say if I want to request for a laptop, or I want to request for even as small as a laptop's keypad change, right? So we can raise these requests, and then these requests will follow the entire request lifecycle, where once it has been initiated, it will be approved by the managers, or if there is any procurement required, it can go to the procurement team. They will see how much cost is getting involved in that, whether it is feasible or not, right? So all these details, and once it is finally approved, so the request will be closed, right? So this is what the ITSM tool does. So entire workflows, right? So you can have one workflow for incident management, one workflow for problem management, or even multiple workflows for all these different processes that we carry. Okay, so in simple terms, an incident may or may not require any approvals, right? Whereas when it comes to a request management, the request management will always have either one or multiple level of approvals that will be required. So right, and same goes for the change and release management as well. We also have a knowledge base, a set of knowledge base modules where the previous occurred incidents, or any informational articles, they can be stored within the knowledge base system. So what will happen is, once the users log in into the self-service portal, they can actually access the knowledge base as well. Okay, so for example, if I'm facing some common issues, right, and there is an article available in the knowledge base which tells me how I can resolve these issues, maybe some printer issue, or maybe if I'm getting blue screen frequently in my laptop. So if there is anything that can be resolved without even going to the help desk, or without even creating a ticket, so those details can be found in the knowledge base articles. So if a user is even a little bit tech savvy, they can actually log in, access the knowledge base articles, and resolve their issues by themselves. Okay. Then we also do SLA management, where SLAs there are different type of SLAs that can be configured. Okay, so mostly if an ITSM tool is being utilized as a silo tool, so it has the incident response and the incident resolution SLAs, right? So for some services, your incident response can be of, let's say, 15 minutes. For some services, it can go up to 1 hour, right? And similarly, your resolution time can also vary depending on the different scenarios and different services that are being offered. Okay, you can create multiple SLA profiles over here. Okay, and we also support the API integrations, where, so we were talking about NMS when we said that we do API integrations. So our NMS and ITSM is, again, they are already integrated with each other. So any alarm that is coming in in the IMS tool, it can be directly sent to the ITSM, where it can be converted into an incident, and it can follow the entire incident lifecycle process. So right from opening of the incident to assigning it to a particular technician, resolving the issue, and closing the incident. So the entire process can be automated. And we have ITSM available as SaaS as well as on-premise. So currently we're using AWS for providing it through SaaS services. And on-premise always, so you can deploy the entire tool on the customer's premise itself. Any queries, please feel free to ask, or please feel free to drop it in the chat.
There's a new chat coming in from Pariza. Manish.
Okay.
Can Infraon EMS tracking of fiber optic cut and alarm and alert system if trouble with the internet services?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Can Infraon EMS checking and tracking the fiber optic cut and alarm alert system if trouble with the internet services?
Okay, yeah. So to answer this, so what we do is we definitely monitor the ISPs as well. Okay, but when it comes to the fiber optics, right? So fiber optics has some different protocols that runs at the background. Okay, and fiber optics, they have their own fiber NMS as well, which monitors the fiber cuts, right? So using that particular NMS, we can integrate with the fiber NMS, and we can showcase you even the fiber cuts or the signal strength, right? So those details also we can showcase in our tool itself, but there will be a small integration that will be required. I hope that answers the query.
Yeah. Because mostly the Infraon EMS will monitor based on the
SNMP protocols.
SNMP, yeah.
Yes,
SNMP,
exactly. Yeah. So see, if we want to find out where exactly the cut is, so we can tell you that the fiber is down, but showcasing you how or exactly where the cut is, so that part is done by the fiber NMS. So if you want to have everything in a single console, we can capture that information from the fiber NMS and we can showcase it to you in our tool.
Yeah. Jadi akan perlu.
That is possible.
So it means that you will need another tools, right, to make sure the physical connection. Yeah, correct.
So basically, whenever there is a fiber involved, right? So they have their own NMS which comes with the fiber.
Yeah.
So if a customer has bought a fiber connection, so the fiber vendor will also have that information available with them. So they will have a NMS which is only for their fiber monitoring, which captures the, which not only captures the fiber cut, but it also captures the signal strength of the fiber.
Okay. Good. Okay. Pak Riza said, okay, thank you. Yeah. Next, continue, Manish.
Okay. So next up is the network or the Infraon NCCM tool, which is the Network Automation, Audit and Compliance System. Okay, so like the name suggests, it is network configuration and change management tool. Okay, so it's a complete network automation tool where you can download the configurations of the devices, you can upload the configurations, even for the branch devices or the branch locations, the devices which are available, right? So those devices also we can capture the information. We can we can check out the compliances and all. So NCCM is basically these are the different core modules within the NCCM tool. So first up is the configuration snapshot management, where we not only download the configuration of the network device, but we are also downloading the metadata. Okay, so what happens is when you have the metadata, you can directly push these configurations into a bare metal device as well. Okay, and apart from that, whenever we are downloading a configuration, right? So we are managing the entire different versions of the downloads. Okay, so for example, if I download, if I'm first time downloading the configuration today, that will be termed as version 1. Similarly, when we download the configuration tomorrow, so what we will do is we will first of all compare the configuration with the previously downloaded configuration. Okay, and if we find that there are some changes, then we will term this newly downloaded version as version 2. Otherwise, we will only update the the timestamp of the downloaded configurations, and it will still be version 1. So that helps the customers to maintain the versions of the different configurations, so that in case there is a patch that has been uploaded, or any configuration change has been done which has gone sideways, they can always go back to the previous versions. Then we also have something called as authorized and unauthorized change, which basically, any configuration change that has been done using the NCCM tool. So when I say using NCCM, so basically whenever we have discovered devices in NCCM, you can take telnet or SSH access of the device, okay, and you can change the configuration, or you can do, whatever you used to do using a CLI session, we can do that, okay. So now, when we talk about authorized changes, right? So any change in the network device configuration which has been done using the NCCM tool, it will be termed as authorized change. Okay, and if someone has taken direct access from outside the NCCM, right? So that will be termed as unauthorized change. Okay. Then we do an inventory management with end of life and end of support monitoring as well. So it requires a small API integration with the vendor, okay, using which we can define when the device is going to get end of life or end of support. We can send you notifications for that. And when we say inventory management, it's not just the inventory or about the firmware or the basic inventory. It's a very detailed inventory, which also captures the information with regards to the hardware modules connected to a device, right? Whether there is an SFP connected to a device, or even the user information. So like how many user accounts are there, what are their passwords, right? To identify whether there is a weak password in the network, which the hackers can use to gain access into the network, right? So all these details, we do a detailed inventory management. Then we also have routine task automation and orchestration, where your day-to-day task, right? So for example, a task can be as small as doing a ping check for all the devices, right? So as soon as you come into the office, you do check all the devices whether they are reachable or not, right? So instead of doing that manually every day, you can create a task for it, and you can schedule the task to be executed on a daily basis. So every day at 10, NCCM will run a task for you, and it will give you a report whether the task was completed successfully, how many devices were reachable, how many are not reachable or not. So a task with as simple as a ping check task, to you can go to a complex task as well, which it can be configuring the MPLS, configuring the VLANs, right? So these details or these tasks can also be automated, or can be uh, scheduled by using the different script automations available in the NCCM tool. Then we also do vulnerability detection plus remediation. So here the vulnerability is referring more towards the hardware vulnerability. So what we do is we capture the information from the OEM repositories. So like Cisco has their own repository, Juniper has their own public repository, where they where they issue the list of vulnerabilities for all their devices, right? So what we do is we collect that information, we find out whether the device which is mentioned in the public repository, whether it is available at the customer premise or not. And if there is, we are able to showcase you what would be the root cause, what can be the workaround for that, if there is any patch available. If there is a patch available, we can always download the patch for you and you can push the patch to multiple devices on one go as well. Apart from that, we do have standard policy compliances. So for example, your PCI DSS, NIST compliances, right? And even, many organizations we have seen, they have their own policies, they have their own rules, right? So even those custom policies can be configured for a policy check, across the network. So for example, if they have said that, port 80 or any particular port should not be open. Okay, and due to some activity or due to some POC, one of the in one of the devices that port was open, but it was never closed. Right. So the next day, the NCCM runs the compliance reports. We will find out that these are the different ports which are open on different devices, which shouldn't be open as a standard practice. Okay. So you get the standard policy compliances as well as the custom policy rules that you can create. Then we have the entire NCCM is being audited. Whatever actions you are taking using the NCCM is being logged. Okay, and any CLI session. So when I say, so you can take Telnet or SSH session from NCCM, right? So any CLI session, we are also doing an entire screen recording of that session. Okay, and once these recordings have been stored, so for example, you have used NCCM for about 6 months, you have about thousands of recordings available with you. Now you want to find out how on how many of these recordings show SNMP command was executed, right? So we have an option of command search where you can simply write show SNMP and the system will filter out all the CLI sessions in which show SNMP command was executed. Okay. And you also have role-based access control. So like I mentioned before, all our tools have role-based access control available with them. Okay. So these are the three tools, core three tools that we are utilizing in as an individual products, or as well as when we talk about the Infraon suite, or when we talk about the integrated setup, right? So when we are integrating the entire, all these three solutions, right? So it forms as an Infraon suite, okay, where it does a three-step process, which is, it starts with Infraon IMS, where you are monitoring the entire infrastructure. You're monitoring your cloud infrastructure, your data centers, your networks, your utility systems, right? And we are also capable of handling the next generation networks. So we are doing the SD-WAN monitoring, even the GPON or the MPLS monitoring as well. Okay, so it starts with the Infraon IMS, where we are doing the entire monitoring of the system. And if we find any fault, that fault is immediately sent to the Infraon desk. Okay, which is the AI-driven service management tool. So once it is sent to the Infraon desk, it generates a ticket. It will assign it to a specific technician. So for example, a ticket is coming up from the network device, right? So it has to go to a network team. If a ticket is coming from a server device, it should go to a server team, right? So that way we are able to identify, we are able to send out or assign the tickets to respective teams. Okay, and for example, if there was a network issue and the technician finds that there is some configuration change that needs to be done in the network device, okay, to rectify this particular issue. So what we will do is we will send that information to the Infraon NCCM tool. Okay, and NCCM will in turn, you can use the NCCM in turn to log in into the device and to make that change. Okay, once that change happens, the issue is resolved. It will come back to the ITSM to tell him, that we have made these changes and the issue should be resolved now. And the same information will be passed on to Infraon IMS, where the alarm will also be cleared. So when you're using the entire Infraon suite, so they are driven by the AI core, where you get the information with respect to, we can do the baselining. So you have a common database where all the data is getting stored, right? So we have a central repository of all the data. you're doing the baselining of the network configurations, you're doing the prediction alarms. We also have a chat bot, which can be utilized for opening or closing the tickets to access the knowledge base and many other things, right? So when you're using Infraon suite, you get a complete 360-degree view of the entire so the entire information, or the entire ICCC centers, right? So where you get the information with regards to all the devices, and right from monitoring up to the management part, we are able to handle these different alarms or handle the different networks altogether. Then there are certain AI products which are available, or the AI components which are available. Okay, so we have different set of bots. Okay, so we have a chat bot which can simulate a conversation between different systems once it has been integrated. Okay, we have a diagnostic bot. So what we do is we can define. So for example, if our network is not reachable, or a device is not reachable, we can define what diagnostic needs to be done, right? So if you want to do a trace route, you want to do a first level diagnostic, right? You want to do a ping check or an SNMP walk. So these details can be performed by the diagnostic bot itself. Once an alarm comes, it will automatically trigger these actions, and it will give you a report stating that we have already done these things. This is either it is working or it is not working, and depending on that, the engineer can take further actions. Similarly, we have threshold bots where the threshold baselining can be auto computed using the previous data that has been accumulated over the time. Okay. Then we are also doing the machine learning predictions. So your capacity planning, your power trend predictions, or pattern analysis, right? So pattern analysis for your future alarms, or when an alarm can be generated again. Alarm predictions and all comes under the pattern analysis part. We do a capacity predictions where we are able to identify that within the next 3 months, whether the current capacity that you have, be it of CPU, be it of memory, be it of storage, right? So whether the current capacity will cater to the future growth or not. And if not, when, what would be the approximate time, or what would be the approximate date when this will exceed, when your exact current requirement will exceed the current setup that you have. Okay. So the different AI components available, so these are the part of the core AI team where, or core AI, which sits beneath the integration of all the three products. Okay. And we have different offerings in terms of, telcos, in terms of people, so the chatbot is getting automated with the different company organizations, different websites, doing the network security patch management using the network automation tool. So entire, your offerings, roam around, or they are somewhere, around the AI market or the AI segment. Okay, so where we are creating the dynamic flows, we are creating the telco OSS, right? And using the integrations, we are providing the complete solution for people, process, network, and the systems that are available in the organization. Okay. Now, apart from that, when we talk about the different smart cities, right? So basically, when we talk about Everest IMS, so the IoT framework that we were talking about, right? So where we are capturing the data from multiple resources, or even the analog objects, right? So we are using different sensors for monitoring the parking systems, for monitoring the smart metering, or the smart UPS, smart SMPS, right? So these details we are doing. So what we do under the smart city project is basically we have the flexible framework, okay, which we use for monitoring and management of all the IoT devices. So what we do is we do the data collection, okay, using the lightweight protocols. Okay, for typical IoT devices, the protocols, so either it is MQTT or it's FTTI. So there are different protocols that are available. Okay, and using these protocols, we are able to identify or we are able to collect the data, and we are able to analyze the data. Right, so the amount of data that comes in, we are able to do a real-time analytics. We are doing predictive analytics or interactive analytics for that, and we are doing some device management for the different device status monitorings. Okay, so configuring auto alert mechanism, self-driven firmwares, where if a firmware upgradation is required, it can use the NCCM to do the firmware upgradations as well. Okay, and not but last but not the least is the operation or the information security. So the entire communication that we do with the different devices and platforms, so it's completely secure and encrypted. Okay, and we are using the platform. So the Everest platform is designed in such a way that it supports advanced communication and access control mechanisms as well. Okay, and so these are not the only things which are which a smart city project involves, right? So apart from smart smart pole or smart metering, or you have different IoT devices, you also have different other solutions. So for example, you have a NAC, right? A network access control. You will be having an SIEM for the log management part. You will be having different other tools which will be working on different silos, right? So what Everest IMS does is we can combine all the data from different domains or from different verticals, and we can showcase this data in a single pane of glass. Okay, which really helps the ICCC or the Integrated Command and Control Center to get a complete 360-degree view of the entire city, right? So some of the examples we have over here is basically for the smart parking. Okay, so the smart parking application, what it does is it basically while going somewhere, right? So the users can actually look for their parking spot before they even actually arrive. Okay, so this helps them to cut down the time of continuously roaming around and searching for a parking spot. It reduces the traffic and reduces the pollution all around, right? And so we are monitoring these smart parking sensors, to identify whether all the sensors are up and running or not. What would be, and even the applications running at the background, their performances as well, we are able to monitor that, right? Similarly, we have the smart metering. So whenever there is where you need to have accurate readings for all the the smart meters, right? So you get reduced into BITS, then you can get a real-time feedback or whatever the energy usage is, right? So based on that, we are able to identify whether all the meters are working properly or not, and based on the different requirements from the customers. Then you have smart lighting as well. So smart lighting actually, there is something that it senses whether there are people around or not, and if there are some people, it will automatically turn on. Get the light automatically gets turned on. Okay, and similarly, it can during low traffic, it can you can schedule the light dimming. You can schedule the multiple so it basically it gives you an easy management of all the lights that are available on the roads and on the for better outage requirement. Then same goes for the smart environment, where you have different sensors, right? So we have temperature sensors, humidity sensors, pressure sensors, right? So capturing all this data and providing this data to the ICCC is something what Everest does. Okay, so there will be different vendors who will provide you with a smart environment operation, or with a smart environment tool, or with the smart lightings, or with smart poles, right? But whenever they are providing you with any of these data collection or any of these monitoring tools, right, they will only be able to do it for their own products. Whereas Everest goes beyond that. Everest, we combine different vendors, we combine different technologies to provide you with a console, or to provide you with a single pane of glass with all the data that has been collected throughout. Okay, so yeah, same goes for the smart pole as well. So you have IP cameras. So there are different poles that can be utilized, right? So it can be for smart light, It can be for Wi-Fi, where we can also, monitor the Wi-Fi access points, how many users are connected to it, and whether there are any rogue APs in the network. So these details we are able to capture. Okay, so we are at the end of the presentations. If there are any other queries, please feel free to ask. Fanky, can we see the queries?
Yeah. Okay. Is there any question? Ada pertanyaan dari rekan-rekan sekalian? Silakan kalau ada yang mau bertanya. Jadi tadi kita udah lihat solusinya bisa untuk biasa kalau teman-teman di Smart City Monitoring itu pasti punya comment center. Nah, comment center biasanya isinya adalah aplikasi dashboard. Nah, cuman dalam banyak kali kami melihat aplikasinya ini beda-beda. Jadi aplikasi untuk network sendiri aplikasinya, aplikasi untuk helpdesk-nya sendiri, aplikasi buat ininya sendiri. Nah, kalau dengan Infraon ini satu platform ya, tapi bisa untuk semua. Jadi silakan kalau ada yang mau bertanya secara langsung live boleh, nanti kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia juga nggak apa-apa, nanti saya bantu translate, atau mau lewat chat juga boleh. Silakan. Silakan teman-teman kalau ada yang mau bertanya. Ada pertanyaan dari teman-teman sekalian, silakan. So, Manish, I think while we're expecting the question from the audience, can you share more? Because I think the one that in Indonesia, not so many implemented the smart pole yet. Smart pole or the smart lighting is, I think it's not all the, that's not common now in smart city monitoring now. Mostly they start from the dashboard.
Yeah, Fanky, exactly. So basically, yeah. So the most important thing is the integrated command and control center.
Yeah.
Right, where they have the entire video wall, in front of all the NOC operators. Right. So we do capture also. So all the information that we are capturing, right? So all these information can be, opened in that video wall. Right. Yeah. So where you can directly create different dashboards. You can create different for the entire network, how the topology will look, right? How the different devices will be connected to each other, right? So all these details can be directly highlighted into the dashboard or into the video wall itself.
Oke. Silakan dari teman-teman, silakan kalau ada yang mau bertanya bisa langsung on boleh, mau ini boleh ya. Oke. Based on the experience, Manish, is the focus only monitoring now, or we can also do some controlling function related to the infrastructure using the Infraon EMS?
So, Fanky, so doing the management, so we are, managing the network devices as well. So, using our NCCM tool, we can do the entire network management or the entire network automation for all the network devices. Okay, and many of our partners here in India, what they have done is whenever they are providing a third-party solution, right? So, for example, if they provide a patch management tool from a third-party vendor, so we are also integrating with that tool so as to provide the customer with a single pane of glass. So the customer should not have multiple logins. They should not have to log in into multiple divisions to get the entire information what's happening in the system, right? So that's why we are providing these integrations which are available. Okay, and once we have integrated with these tools, we are able to showcase the entire data. We're able to collect the data from the different resources, and we are able to showcase it in a single pane of glass.
Yeah. How about the native app? Because one of the issue is related to the smart city monitoring. I think, do you have a native app that people can monitor? Yeah, not all in the office, but during, I mean, they can monitor from the smartphone. The native app application, is there any?
So, see, our IMS tool does not have an application or a mobile app, but what we have done is we have made it in such a way that it is very it is every browser friendly, even for the mobiles. So the engineers can log in into their accounts using the mobile browser as well. Okay, and we only would require the connectivity to the main server or to the central server, so that we can provide them with the appropriate or with the correct information altogether.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But when it comes to ITSM, so our ticketing tool, it has an application as well, which can be utilized.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I saw some question, yeah, from Pak Ismail Fahmi. The software monitoring that, what is the software monitoring? I think Pak Ismail missed the information. The product name is Infraon EMS for the software monitoring system, yeah. Okay. Infraon EMS. The next, Pak Muhammad Hasbi Aziz. In monitoring the smart city infrastructures, what do you mean there? Pak Hasbi ini apa maksudnya? Slum area ini apa nih? Pak Hasbi masih ada? Muhammad Hasbi Aziz. Slum area maksudnya apa ya? Slum area. Slum area maksudnya apa nih Pak ini? Slum area. Oh, slum area. Okay. How to monitor the smart city infrastructures on development or on the slum area? And I mean it's not the good city or it's suburb area. What is the stages? Manish, if you able to share it.
So as part of smart city initiatives, right? So
yeah.
What the what the government is trying to do is to make sure that all of these areas are also under the network reachabilities, right?
Yeah.
So they are building out different poles. They are trying to connect all these slum areas as well into the domain of the monitoring, right? Where they create they create different poles at regular intervals. They try to get everyone on board when it comes to creating an entire smart city. Okay, I mean the place where currently I live is a current is a tier 2 city in India. But we have we have a smart city project over here as well, which is currently running. Okay, and what they do is they provide different poles. So when we talk about smart poles, right? So it's not just a lighting pole or something. So what the government is trying to do is they're also trying to do or provide the users with Wi-Fi access, so that the internet should be available for all, right? And users can connect to these Wi-Fi's. They can browse over the internet over their phones. Right? So even for all the different areas, people are trying to get them as well upgraded to the newest software, to the latest trends, right?
Yeah.
So that is something that the government is actually trying to do in all the different regions. So and first and foremost, even if the poles are not there in the Malaysia side, so I'm sure there will be different CCTV cameras that will be installed, right? In all these areas as well.
Yeah. I think in some the same thing with Indonesia. I think back to the requirement, of the city by I mean, if the concentration is more related on the security, I think they will use the main project of smart city to installing the CCTV, yeah, something like
Correct. Correct. Yeah. See, the main criteria of creating a smart city is not just, providing internet to everyone or providing. So one of the core or one of the segments of the smart cities, or there are other different projects also that are running up currently in India, okay, which are termed as the safe city projects. Okay, so these are also part of the smart city initiatives.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have different safe city projects also which are running, where the entire city is getting created or getting CCTV cameras across all the city, and then they have different other different other solutions as well. So for example, facial recognitions, they have the automatic number plate system recognition system.
Yeah.
Right. So there are different systems that are available in the markets, which are currently, the government is trying to build into the entire city systems.
Okay. The last one, I think from Pak Ucok, for reporting, every tools monitoring, can we do the customization, reporting, customization?
So we do have the customization option available for customers, who, well, to be frank, we are very proud of what we provide in the reports and the dashboards. Okay. And we have a very customizable report from the GUI itself. Okay, so whatever parameters that we are capturing from the different protocols, we can showcase those parameters into any of these reports. Okay, and you can schedule the reports on a weekly basis and even for an hourly basis as well. So we have not seen, sometimes of course there will be some customers who will require the report to be in a specific format. Okay, but we are open to that, and we can provide them with the desired reports.
Yeah.
See, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the customer satisfaction that needs, that matters.
Yeah. Okay, I think so. In related to the reports, this report can get the data from the across from Infraon desk, Infraon EMS. Possible, right?
Yes, that's possible.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the good one, because normally people get headache if they need to export one report from one platform. Yeah.
So when we talk about different platforms, right? So although these are three different tools, right? So what we do is we provide you with a single sign-on. Okay, so within a single click, you can move from Infraon IMS to Infraon Desk to Infraon NCCM. Okay, of course, the reporting structure, the reporting engines are completely different for all these three tools. It will not be, it will not be entirely in the same page, but you can always, without even have to logging into the next tool, you can move from one place to another. Okay, how about the integration report? Is there any? We can get the data from the EMS, from the desk, from the. Is it possible? We can link reports. So basically, if you have an asset report from or asset information is getting captured from ITSM, that information can be sent out to the NMS, and we can create an entire single report out of that. So that is not an issue. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's the last question from the audience. I hand over again to Amanda. Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please stop the share screen, Manish.
Yeah.
Amanda. Yeah.
Oke. Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan, silakan aktifkan video kamera Anda. Kita akan foto bersama. Please activate your video camera. We will take a picture together.
Wah, Pak Martin, pertanyaannya terlambat nih, Pak Martin. Ini sore no centang lurah. Dan langsung jijian. Posisinya. Status nih, Gus. Ayo di capture udah, Aldi, monitor. Aldi. Sudah, Pak. Oke, Okay, back to Manish. The closing remark before we announce the winners. The closing remark.
Thank you, Mr. Manish.
The closing remark from Mr. Manish. Go ahead. Hello.
Okay, sorry, I was talking on mute again. So thank you everyone again for joining to today's session. I hope the session was informational to you. And apart from that, since we had some time constraint today, so what I would suggest is going forward, let's have individual sessions. So whoever seems the tool to be interactive enough, let's get on to individual sessions with them. Okay, we can hold or we can host the demonstration where we can showcase the actual tool as well. How the GUI looks, how the different monitoring is done from for different devices, how the ITSM works for all the tools, right? And also for the NCCM as well. So we would like to host internal or we would like to host individual sessions for all the divisions, for all the for all the tools as well. Okay, with each of the partners that have joined today. So that's it from my side. I think thanks a lot. Thank you again for joining today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Manish. Amanda, the closing.
Ya, untuk pemenang OVO hari ini, yang pertama Pak Ucok dari PT NTI. Selamat kepada Pak Ucok. Yang kedua Pak Hasbi Aziz. Yang ketiga Pak Muhammad Riza. Selamat kepada 3 pemenang OVO. Terima kasih untuk narasumber kita, Mr. Manish, dan moderator kami Pak Fanky. Terima kasih para peserta yang sudah hadir pada hari ini. Semoga kalian bisa ikut di acara kami selanjutnya pada Kamis minggu depan. Thank you, stay safe, God bless.
Ya, jangan lupa ya, tanggal 21 siang ya, beda nih tanggal 21 siang. 21 siang itu tentang peranan wanita di cyber security. Jadi silakan ikut. Ada 2 cewek cantik yang sangat smart, bisa sharing dengan kita. Kemudian siangnya apa Amanda? Siangnya di itu ya, acaranya ini ya, Pamerindo ya. Ya. Oke, sampai bertemu kembali. Terima kasih semua. Thank you, Manish, Abhishek, Nur. See you again. Terima kasih semua. Pak Martin. Telat tanyanya Pak Martin tadi. Nanti ya.